Minister, this is a bill about my life. This is a bill that will profoundly impact my life one way or the other. As a married woman, I share a lot in common with my Shannon colleagues who are married. And those of us who are married, possibly the majority here, signed a civil law document with our spouse in the presence of specially chosen witnesses to declare and to register our legal married status. Once signed, we bound ourselves in law as well as in love, to cherish each other, to support each other, regardless of poverty or riches, regardless of sickness or health, regardless of failures or achievements, to love with fidelity and trust until death. As a married woman, however, I am also in the minority of one in this chamber. My marriage, while legally recognized in Canada where it was contracted, and legally valid throughout 18 countries and 37 states in the United States of America, is denied recognition in Irish law because I am married to another woman. At present in Ireland, my sexual identity bans me from access to the civil institution of marriage. At present in Ireland, those who, like myself, belong to a minority social group because of our sexual identity are banned from accessing the institution of civil marriage purely by virtue of who we are, purely by virtue of our difference in sexual identity from the heterosexual majority. So that is it. Lesbian women and gay men cannot marry the person they choose to love. Heterosexual women and men can marry and divorce and remarry the person they choose to love. Even though the intense, involuntary emotional attraction and desire of forever love is no different for opposite or same-sex couples. That's why I say this bill is about my life and the lives of others who share a minority status with me. We only want what the majority already has: the freedom, the right, the choice to marry the person we love. And the fact that our freedom and our right and our choice is denied, the fact that the civil institution of marriage is banned from us, means that equality does not exist between heterosexual and lesbian and gay men. And so once enacted, this bill will put a question to the people. It will be the question of marriage equality. The people will have the power in their hands to cast off a wounding oppression experienced by many Irish citizens for decades. The people will have the power in their hands to affirm once and for all in our foundational legal document that homosexual identity is a normal way of being human. The people will have the power in their hands to affirm that lesbian and gay people reside within the norm of humanity, not outside of it, and as such, we should be free to marry the person of our choice, just as are the majority. The people will have the power in their hands to banish inequality between a majority and a minority. Goodness, that doesn't happen very often. Maybe just once in a lifetime. So when the people, our people, my people, go to the polling booth on the 22nd of May 2015, they will have an opportunity to decide on our core values. It isn't often that we, the people, get to make such decisions, and the process tells a lot about who we are and what we aspire to be. And in a republic, it is the people and their will who are sovereign, and nowhere more visibly so than during key constitutional moments when our core values and our institutions are revisited. Jefferson said this should be done every generation. So now it is the turn of this generation in Ireland to decide whether to perpetuate a legacy of the past that foreclosed human possibilities, or whether to open our hearts and our minds to a more positive future that values love as a bedrock of civilized society. The question, the text as we have it in this bill, is not about a narrow sectional interest. It goes to the heart of who we are as a people and who we aspire to be and what we owe to one another. By adding the text in this bill, by saying yes, the people will not be altering radically the family or its relationship with the state. The family protected by Article 41 of our Constitution will still be the family based on marriage, subsequent to the referendum, though this is something that also needs changing in my view. But by voting yes, the people will be saying they value the family as a place, a setting, a relational context where human beings who love one another can grow and nourish each other. Or as Martin Buber, the Jewish philosopher, says, we become ourselves in relation. Now, and this is the prime point, becoming who we are in relation is not something that is sex or gender specific. Love has no regard for sex or gender. So if we are faithful to this positive image of family as a relational context where we grow and nourish each other, and as such as an institution that is protected by our Constitution as the fundamental unit group of society, then it follows that there ought to be no sex or gender-specific barrier to entry to the family or to marriage upon which it is based. Love should be the only ticket to entry. My argument for yes is rooted in valuing the family as such. And as Grania Healy Chair of Marriage Equality said recently, yes is pro-family. So the time is right in Ireland to open our restrictive laws regarding marriage so that all citizens will be treated equally with respect to marriage. Our own Constitution upholds equality in Article 40.1 when it states, all citizens shall as human persons be held equal before the law. Amartya Sen, the great contemporary political philosopher and economist, argues that a society characterized as equal must provide people with economic and social freedoms to, quote, lead the lives we have reason to value. A society filled with substantive equality for all means that each one of us are free to choose the lives we wish to live. And in my case, as in the case of all others whose identity resides within a sexual minority, we ought to be free to live our sexual identity with integrity and without unwarranted interference by the majority. What about children? Saying yes to equality in the referendum means that Irish children of lesbian and gay couples will be recognized and protected as family by our Constitution, because they don't have that now. Saying yes to equality means that Irish children of lesbian and gay couples will have equal status to Irish children of heterosexual couples, because they don't have that right now. No one has a right to a child. The best interests of children can only be supported by parents who love and nourish them. It is love that is the heart of the matter, and it is the protection of the rights and best interests of all children, all our children, that our Constitution should uphold. Do children have a right to a mother and a father? I had an extraordinary mother and father. I can't imagine growing up in my life without a mother and a father, because I had them. And as I often say, I was so blessed that by the time of their passing, 4 long years ago now, I had no unfinished business with them. But when I remember them as extraordinary parents, is it because I am remembering their gender? No, it is not. I have memories of my mother standing on the sidelines of my baseball games, my father being present at my speech tournaments, my dad telling me to believe in myself, and my mother saying that I have a proud Irish heritage. I remember that they were always there. They were just always there. And I remember that when at the age of 33, I finally told them about my sexual identity and that Anne-Louise Gilligan was my beloved life partner in a letter that traveled from Dublin to Seattle, their response was a letter back which began with the words, "Dear daughters." I had parents who loved and nurtured me to be the woman I am today, and it had little, if anything, to do with their gender. Furthermore, when some people argue that children have a right to a mother and a father, are they talking about lesbian and gay children too? Lesbian and gay children at 5 or 10 or 15, are these people saying that they have a right to a mother and a father? But by the way, that necessarily means that they don't have a right to marry the person they choose to love. And furthermore, these lesbian and children and gay children, they grow up. Can we really split apart the natural full cycle of life? If every child absolutely has the right to be raised by a mother and a father, then as an adult lesbian woman, I am precluded from having children all around me as I grow older. Is this natural? That only heterosexuals should have the gift of adult children in their older years? Especially in the later older years, when additional vulnerabilities set in. And they do. And it seems like the most natural thing in the world to look to your children for companionship and care. These are some of what one could call the unintended consequences of insisting on the absolute right of a child to be raised by a mother and a father. So in conclusion, saying yes on the 22nd of May 2015, it will be a time to embrace all the adult and child citizens of our Irish nation equally. And as you've already said, Minister, the horizon leans forward.
Thank you, Senator.